everybody, and welcome back to launch week of our
Woo!
Anatomy of Abundance book, a holistic guide to creating prosperity in all aspects of life. I'm so excited to continue this series and introduce you to another one of our absolutely amazing, powerful authors. This is Miss Carolynn Bottino. So introduce yourself. Welcome, Carolynn.
Thank you. So as Katrina said, my name is Carolynn Bottino, and I am a bookkeeper by trade. So I have lots to say about money. And I am so honored to be part of this book. It's been an amazing project, an amazing process to be part of. So I am just so thrilled to be here.
Yay. And I'm just going to correct you because you're so much more than a bookkeeper. She is a money empowerment specialist, and she's also a best-selling author as well, with a book called The Land of Plenty. So I don't want you to like downplay the magic that you are in the world.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely more than a bookkeeper. Let's just say that for sure.
Yes.
I do a lot of money empowerment coaching, and I would say that's definitely my secret sauce. I have a very interesting perspective being a bookkeeper around people's money, and it led me down this path to really be inspired to help entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, to rise up and embrace their money power, because there's so many people that just go through the ins and outs of daily life as an entrepreneur and have no clue what's happening in their money. And when you get it, it's like, wow, this whole world just opens up. So I'm super passionate about helping entrepreneurs understand their money.
Yes. And I love it. That's part of the reason why we connected as well, because with the Anatomy of Abundance framework, for which the book is written about, the whole point is to bring together the inner work and the action steps that are required for us to really create abundance. And I know for myself, I'm a generator within my human design, and I'm really good at generating money. And there's a point where even though I watch it, I track it, I do all the things, and I think, okay, I've got this all under control when it comes to my business, I have realized recently, and I shared this with you, that it's time for me to bring on a CFO type person to really hold accountable, but also to do better planning, projecting, and yeah, I guess strategizing of the income that's coming in for the business. And so sometimes even when we are looking at our money, there's just blind spots like anything else, like our personal work, our relationships, our careers. There's always blind spots. And that's where hiring a professional like yourself comes in handy. But we both know there's a lot of fear around hiring someone to help you with money. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know that's part of like what you do in your empowerment work around money as well.
Yeah. So, fear, guilt, and shame, those are the three emotions that come up
the doozies
with every single person, the doozies with money. Absolutely. The thing about money is that when you don't know what's going on, it's really easy to be afraid, because our society is, and especially in the money world, is so based in fear. You should be afraid that you don't have enough in your retirement account. You should be afraid that, the world's going to end and you're going to not be able to access your money. I mean, whatever the thing is, but everything you hear is based in fear.
Yes.
And, when you are in a position where you understand your money, and I 100% agree with you, Katrina, that there's always going to be blind spots. I've been working on my money situation and stories and all that stuff, mindset, whatever, for a long, long time. And I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I call myself an expert, and I'm still learning. We're going to learn through the rest of our entire lives and many, many more lifetimes, because money is such an integral part of who we are. And it's so tied into how we perceive our worth, that we're always going to be having those growth moments when we come up against money. And so my philosophy is, the more love and attention that you can give your money, the more empowered you're going to be. And it can look as simple as looking at your bank account every day, at once a week, once a month, even once a year if you never have. I mean, just taking the little tiny step, the little bit of courage to open up the bank account if that's not what you normally do. Or it can look like hiring a professional.
Right.
We're all in a different place. And so you've got to decide for yourself what that tiny little baby step is going to be, and give yourself credit and celebrate every time you take one of those tiny baby steps, because that's how you make change. That's how you make a difference in that relationship with money.
100%. And I would also offer that when it comes to creating a lifestyle, a mindset, actions, decisions that are based in abundance, we also have to understand that life expands and retracts, right? So it's kind of like this accordion. There's going to be times where it's expanding, 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 and that may become very uncomfortable for someone, right? If their normal life circumstances are here and it expands quickly here, that can be uncomfortable, just as the opposite can be the same, right? Where
yes.
used to having a lot and then all of a sudden your resources are restricted, then that's going to cause some fear and some scarcity to come up. So I do think it's extremely important to be in relationship with your money when it's good and when it's bad, right?
Absolutely.
Bad, right? And I think that is a practice, which is where I believe this book is going to come in handy for a lot of people, because it really is merging together the inner work and the outer work in order to enable us to stay on this path towards continuously creating abundance. So it's just very interesting. So I'm one of these people who looks at my bank accounts every day. Like I look, and it's not like it's going to change every day, but I mean, I look at every bank account, I look at every credit card statement, and I'm just like riding the waves. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. And I'm like, I just sit with and accept wherever I'm at in each moment, and then use that as a motivator to push to whatever the next level is. So that is wow.
Yeah.
So I want you to share with everybody the name of your chapter and a little sneak peek into your content that you've contributed to this book.
Yeah, so mine is How to Embody and Embrace Financial Abundance. And there's really three main things that I talk about. The first is your money story. And the reason why I start there is that every single one of us has a money story. And it's really important that we understand what our money story is, because it impacts the way we look at money, how we perceive people, how we perceive ourselves, how, whether we're rich or poor, those are all a spectrum. You could, what's interesting for me is that I truly see what people have in their bank accounts, because I'm their bookkeeper. And I can have somebody that has, millions of dollars in the bank or in trust funds, and they think they're poor.
Right.
And then I can have somebody who has, maybe like $10,000 to their name, and they think they are loaded. So it is truly a perception. And so our money stories really play into that. And so that's where I start the chapter. And then I go in and tell a little bit about my own story, because I have my own experience of how I learned about my money story and how it changed when I really started looking at how my money story was impacting me, how it truly transformed my life. I went from feeling like I was constantly in scarcity to really finding my own land of plenty. And that's why I call my book The Land of Plenty. And I feel like for me, the land of plenty could be synonymous with abundance. It truly is that idea of getting to the place where you feel that even though everything else might look good, if you don't feel it, you're not abundant. And that's really what I think abundance is about.
100%.
Yeah. And then towards the end of my chapter, I talk a little bit about how money flows. And I think this is a really key concept, because I see this every day as a bookkeeper. I have clients that are clients of each other, and Those
Yeah.
clients obviously pay me, and I love to watch how money flows around. And I don't think a lot of people really think this through, because I think when you go out to the grocery store and you spend your money on your groceries, you just think that money is gone. But the reality is that our economy is built on money moving around between people. And it's not just businesses, it's truly people. And so the example that I use is that, I go and get my hair cut, spend $100. My hairdresser then goes and buys some flowers for her mom with that $100. The florist then goes and buys a pair of concert tickets. The concert venue then advertises with the magazine. The magazine then is my client and pays money to have bookkeeping done. And the coolest thing about that is that same $100 has become income for 5 different people and has now become $500. And that's just a really easy example to see how money truly is infinite and how it very easily can regenerate quickly and multiply. Because I think a lot of times people in that scarcity mindset think, oh, it's gone. Oh my God, my money's gone.
Yes.
But you forget that you just put it into the economy and it's going to come back to you as long as you're open and willing to receive it. And that's really the key, is that if we're very deliberate and conscious about how we spend and receive, that whole idea completely empowers me, because all of a sudden that idea of having money is not outside of me, it's within me. And that to me is really the kicker. So that's my tiny tidbit that I'll share from my chapter.
I love hearing that. Every time you share that is powerful. And I want to also just bring to everyone's attention that it's not the principles in the book. They relate, yes, to being able to generate abundance in regard to money and wealth, but also it's relationships. It's, just your relationship with yourself, your relationship with others. In all aspects of your life, you can apply the principles that are in this book. And so when you were telling that story about the money being generated, you can also apply that to relationships. There's that saying, if you love someone, set them free. If they're meant to be, then they'll come back. That's another example of how it might circulate and come back, maybe because of timing. And I've had my own experience that I completely forgot about until you told this story of so anyone who knows me has seen this Om tattoo on my wrist. And the Om tattoo was actually done using a pendant that I had purchased in Bali after the passing of my husband as part of my healing process. And the whole point of buying the pendant was to remind me to breathe, right? So I ended up tattooing it on my wrist so that I would remember to breathe, always return to the breath, right? Return to center.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, I went to this transformational event in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, and one of the exercises was about letting go. And up until this point, I thought, I'm not someone who holds on to things. I forgive. I let things go. I don't hold on to possessions. I don't hold on and possess people. I'm just not that person. And so I never felt like I had any attachment. And there was a moment where they set up the exercise and I was like, oh gosh, what are they talking about? And I started to freak out. And it was because the whole exercise was about letting go. And I realized that the only object, because I didn't have anything that I brought to let go of, the only object that I had that I could let go, that I was even remotely attached to, was this pendant. And so I traded my pendant with someone for something that they also felt very attached to and was sentimental to them. And my whole body went into shock and I had like a complete nervous breakdown, to be quite honest. But this was my passage to learn how to let go. I was still in scarcity and retraction around the loss of my husband, and obviously still living in a state of scarcity and fear. So 3 years later, one of my girlfriends, Lila Gaddis, who lives in Canada, who was there with me at that event, tracked the person down, got my pendant, and sent it back to me on my birthday.
Wow.
She traded something of value with him to get one of the most touching stories and examples that I have
Yes.
of this idea of abundance, and there's always more than enough. And, you know, we really, it's powerful. It is powerful.
It is powerful. It is powerful because if you think about it, when you hold on to those things so tightly because
Yes.
you're afraid to let go of them, including money,
Yes.
when you hold on to it, it becomes stagnant and it doesn't do you any good.
Right.
And when you let it go and let it do its magic in the universe, it's going to come back to you tenfold in such
Exactly.
a more perfect and beautiful way. But
Yeah.
it takes the courage to let go of it in the first place.
One.
I love
I
that
love
story,
that we're
Katrina.
having
Oh
this.
my gosh.
Isn't it powerful? Literally. So this is my first time being able to tell the story without crying, for one, because it was just so intense, because I was in such a state of restriction that I wasn't letting people in, right? So how we do anything is how we do everything. I wasn't letting people in. I had a hard time receiving help or gifts at that time. So the whole receiving channel was completely blocked. And sometimes you
Yeah,
have to let go of things to make room for things that are even better, you know? So
yes.
that's the lesson that I take from that story, but that's also in this conversation. The lesson that I feel like needs to be pushed to the forefront is that we don't need to
100%.
hold on tight. The more we open our hands up, we can receive more. And like you said, tenfold.
Yeah, I have a quick example of
Yeah.
that very thing. So I recently got my branding photos done, and I was kind of on the fence. You know, I'd spent a lot of money investing in clothes and the photographer and everything, and then I saw all of the images, and I was like, oh my God, I need like 30 of them, not
Yeah.
just the 5 that I'd paid for. And I think it ended up being like $1,250 or something like that extra, that I was like, okay, whew, I can do this. I trust that the money's going to come back. And I had no sooner hit the email to say I'm going to take these 30. I got an email from a client saying yes to exactly the same dollar amount.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happens to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start to pay attention and you really trust in this law of how money flows, I
Yeah.
promise you will start to see things like this. So just be aware, because
The
it definitely is out
synchronicities,
there.
the synchronicities are
Yes.
insane. So I have to actually share this because I have tingles all over my body. I was in a moment, because I only allow myself a moment, like no more than 5 seconds, to feel sorry for myself in, in certain situations. Like, just so people know, because people think I'm like super positive all the time, and I am, but it's like I have a system for everything. And my system for managing negativity is that I give myself 5 seconds to feel sorry for myself, kick, rant, throw a fit, whatever. And right after I finished my rant, I opened up Instagram and I saw this. Actually, it's from Mark Wahlberg, of all people. It says, God never gives you a dream that matches your budget. He's not checking your bank account. He's checking your faith. Is that powerful?
Ooh, I love
Is
that.
that powerful? So I see
Yes.
this, I have my 5 seconds of, whatever. I see this quote. And then on that same day, ended up getting blessed with a venue for our book launch party, because I was really like, kind of
Yeah.
feeling some kind of way about not knowing if I was going to be able to make it happen. So the lessons, the stories can just go on and on and on, but this is the exercise, is to be fully standing in faith and living in abundance at all times, in our mind, body, and spirit, and in our actions, most importantly. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because you can't just be in it in your head and in your
Right.
spirit. You actually have to do. And
Yes.
that's what I love, is combining actual steps of what you can do with the whole mindset piece and the whole embodiment piece. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's truly how you embody, is because you do, you
Yeah.
become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have another question for you, and that
Yeah.
is, with everything you have going on, you have your bookkeeping company, you have your family, you have your empowerment projects and your coaching and your speaking and all the things that you do. What made you want to be a part of our Anatomy of Abundance book?
Oh, so many things. Part of it was you, Katrina, because you are such an amazing powerhouse and you always pull in the most amazing people. And I just knew that this was the community I wanted to be part of.
Mm.
I also, I have a book. And so I've actually had a few people ask, if you already have a book, why would you want to just do a
Exactly.
chapter? And for me, it was like, it was such a perfect fit. And it's not necessarily just becoming a published author, it's being part of this um, bigger movement. Like I believe that looking at money in a different way is a movement. And I want to get as many voices and as many people around the table to talk about money in this way as possible, because I truly believe this is how we change the world. And I think that the more people who are empowered around their money and have money to make a difference in the world actually is what's going to change things. And so I love that we're donating to Shine. I think that that's just the coolest thing. The fact that we are supporting entrepreneurs coming out of sex trafficking is just mind blowing to me. It is the most perfect fit. And it's what this is about, because if you really connect with why you want to be abundant, it's probably because you want to give your family a good life. You want to support causes you care about. The list goes on and on. Yeah. But most of the time, it's to create this better world for you personally, your family, and the world you live in. And I feel like being part of this book is taking a positive step to have that conversation of how to get more people empowered around their money and being abundant. And that's what I feel truly is going to change the world.
I absolutely 100% agree. And that is the mission. That has been the intention from the beginning, putting this project together, is just to really create this movement, which I'm so happy you said that, this ripple effect, around the world, utilizing this book for the awakenings that they need to shed light on what their blind spots may be, the resources, the guidance, and even the access to the experts in the book, as well as the community itself. And giving people an opportunity to be a part of it, because you can't access what you don't know exists,
Yeah.
So I love
absolutely.
Everything about this has been magical. Absolutely.
I would agree.
And I'm just excited that we now get to share this with the world, like in
Me
real life,
too.
IRL, right?
Yeah.
So if you haven't already purchased the book, go to the URL above, go.patrinawisdom.com/abundance, or go to your favorite book platform, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Goodreads. Totally up to you. We don't care. What we do care about is that you not only buy a copy for yourself, but share the love. Buy 4, 5, 6 copies and share them with your friends. I guarantee you, you will not regret it. And then the last thing I want to bring forward is that this isn't just a book that you're going to read and put on a shelf. It really is a guide. So utilize it as such, keep going back to it. Make sure that you look into joining our book club, where you'll have access to all of the authors and experts as well the community. So I am thrilled. I'm so excited. I could literally talk to you all day long, just because I get
so me too.
excited. I'm so excited about this like soul-based conversation of alignment and money, right? Not just the numbers, not just building wealth to be building wealth, but everything that's involved in it energetically. And I think all of us who are involved in this book are of the same mind and heart and spirit, which is why it's just such a juicy creation.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Anytime I get into the same space, whether it's on Zoom or physical space with the authors, it's just like my whole soul just lights up. And I know that the book is just going to emanate all of that same energy. So I'm so excited.
Me too. And I'm so glad that we were able to collaborate in this way. And I look forward to collaborating more in the future on lots of different things. So before we go, just share with everybody where they can learn more about you or connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to reach me is to go to my website, which is www.all-details.com. So ALL-details.com.
All right. All right. Well, there it is. You heard it here first. So again, if you haven't already gotten the book, don't be left behind. Go grab it at the
You're
bar,
gonna want it.
right? Hey, we told you, we invited you. We've got a whole week worth of interviews and exciting things to get you engaged and motivate you to take that step. So don't miss the boat. We love you. We're here to support you. Reach out, give feedback, ask questions, and let's go create massive abundance in ourselves and in the world. See you soon.
Yay!
Thanks,
Bye.
Carolynn.
You bet.